February 5th, 1975, Strongsville, Ohio. It was just after sunrise when police were called to a wooded ravine behind a small bar. Construction workers had been digging into the frozen ground when they found her. A shallow grave, a teenage girl, no name, no purse, no jacket, just a partial skeleton and the clothes she died in. Whoever she was, she hadn't been there long. The body was taken to the coroner. She was listed as a Jane Doe and buried without a name at a local cemetery. Case closed. No suspects, no press, nothing. But just a few weeks earlier, less than an hour away, 17-year-old Linda Pagano had gotten into a fight with her stepfather. He said she stormed out, didn't say where she was going, didn't take anything with her. She never came home. Her family filed a report, but police treated it like a runaway case. No missing posters, no searches, no real follow-up. Just another teen gone wild. That's what they called it back then. The department closed her case and moved on. 2 young women, same state, same month, same age, same height, and still, no one made the connection. 40 years passed. And then, in 2016, something unexpected happened. A college student in Ohio was researching local cold cases for a class. They came across an article from 1975, a Jane Doe found in Strongsville. No one had ever identified her. No one had tried. The student posted the story to a Facebook page called Ohio Missing Persons. Just a few paragraphs. No photos, no theories, but enough to catch someone's attention. That someone was Carl Koppelman. Carl doesn't work in law enforcement. He's not a detective. He's a former accountant. But more importantly, he's one of the most respected amateur forensic artists in the world. Carl spends hours each day combing through NAMIS, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. He recreates faces of unidentified bodies and posts them online. Not for clicks, not for fame, but because someone has to. Carl read the student's post, then looked up the autopsy of the Jane Doe. The girl was about 5 feet 3 inches, teenage, had been shot once in the head. He pulled up a list of missing girls from that year, and there she was, Linda Pagano. The hair color, the building, the date, everything matched. He drew a facial reconstruction, then sent an email to the Cuyahoga County coroner. He laid it all out, the similarities, the locations, the timing. At first, nothing. For 2 years, the file sat untouched. Then, finally, in 2018, someone reopened it. They ran a DNA test, and it was her. Jane Doe was Linda Pagano. After 44 years, her name was returned to her grave. But here's the part that should make you stop. Her bones weren't hidden in some remote canyon. They were logged, tagged, and stored in a system designed to identify people like her. But it took one college student's post and one volunteer artist to solve it. Linda wasn't missing. She was there the whole time. We just weren't looking. April 15th, 2013, Boston, Massachusetts. 2 bombs explode at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. 3 people are killed. Over 260 are injured, and the country spirals into panic. The FBI releases blurry images from surveillance footage. 2 men, ball caps, backpacks, no names, no context, just faces. And the internet takes it from there. On Reddit, users launch a full-blown investigation. They pore over photos, circle strangers, speculate, assume, accuse, and within hours, a name appears: Sunil Tripathi. Sunil was 22 years old, a philosophy student at Brown University. He had gone missing nearly a month earlier, March 16, 2013. No phone, no wallet, no note. His family had created a Facebook page, hoping for leads, hoping someone, somewhere, had seen him. That's all they wanted. But Reddit had other plans. Someone thought he looked like suspect number 2, the man in the white cap. Others agreed. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. The thread exploded. Found him. He's your guy. Sunil Tripathi equals Boston bomber. No evidence, no official connection, just momentum. News outlets picked up the name: BuzzFeed, Politico, NBC affiliates. They hinted, they speculated. They let the public fill in the blanks. Meanwhile, the Tripathi family was still posting on Facebook, still begging for real leads, still hoping Sunil was alive, until the comments turned. "You raised a killer. Burn in hell. You must be so proud." Their page was flooded. Threats, hate, Accusations from strangers who didn't even know Sunil was missing until they decided he was guilty, but he wasn't, and he never had been. April 23, 2013. Police recover a body from the Providence River. It's Sunil. He'd been dead for weeks, likely died just days after he vanished in March. Which means when Reddit accused him, when the media speculated, when the world turned his name into a trending headline, he was already gone. The real bombers were identified that same week: Tamerlan and Johar Tsarnaev. They weren't students, they weren't missing persons, but Sunil's name had already been dragged through the mud. Reddit issued a public apology. So did a few journalists, but it didn't matter because Sunil Tripathi never got the chance to defend himself. He never even knew the world had turned on him, but his family did, and they never got to bring him home the way they hoped. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a digital manhunt with no rules and no consequences. Sunil wasn't identified by forensics or police or investigators. He was chosen by the internet, by guesswork, by fear, by people playing detective with real lives. He was never a terrorist, never a suspect, just a young man in pain whose final days were rewritten by strangers he'd never meet. It was July 21st, 1999. Racine County, Wisconsin. A farmer's driving down a rural road. He looks into the ditch and slams the brakes. Something's there, wrapped in a black trash bag. Police are called. They find the body of a teenage girl, beaten, face bruised, hair dyed, teeth knocked out, ears pierced 3 times. There's no purse, no phone, no shoes, just the clothes on her body. A floral shirt, men's underwear. She's young, maybe 18 to 25. No one recognizes her. No one claims her. She becomes Racine County Jane Doe, and for years, that's all she is. Autopsy says she died less than 2 days before she was found, but she'd been erased intentionally. No ID, no dental records, no missing person report that matches. No suspects, the case stalls, and the girl in the ditch becomes a case number, unsolved, unnamed, forgotten, but not by everyone. 1,000 miles away, Carl Koppelman is working cold cases. He's not a cop, not a coroner, not a detective. He's a retired accountant. But online, Carl has solved more missing persons cases than most professionals ever will. He redraws facial reconstructions of unidentified bodies and posts them online, just in case someone's still looking. He comes across Racine Jane Doe, sees the original sketches, doesn't buy them, so he makes his own, softer, clearer, human. Then he shares it. Facebook, Reddit, the Doe Network, and someone sees it. A woman messages him. "This looks like my daughter." Her name? Aundria Bowman. She disappeared in 1989 from Hamilton, Michigan. Her adoptive father said she ran away, took some money. Police believed him. There was no search, no flyers, no real effort, just a closed file. Carl compares everything: height, age, piercings, clothes. He thinks Aundria could be Jane Doe. He reaches out, but there's no DNA to match. No one takes it seriously. The case goes quiet again. Then, in 2020, the truth finally surfaces. Dennis Bowman, Aundria's adoptive father, is arrested in connection with an unrelated murder in Virginia. During questioning, detectives ask about Aundria, and he breaks. He confesses. He says he killed her after she threatened to report what he'd done to her. He buried her beneath the back patio of their house. She had been there all along while he mowed the lawn, decorated for Christmas, lived his life. Her body was 10 feet from the back door. So here's the twist. Aundria wasn't Racine Jane Doe, but Carl's sketch helped bring her story back into the spotlight and helped lead to the confession that ended decades of silence. And the Jane Doe found in Racine, she's still out there, still nameless, still waiting. One case closed, one still wide open, all because a stranger on the internet cared enough to draw a face and refused to look away. Troy, Ohio, April 1981. A young woman's body is found in a ditch off a quiet road. No ID, no purse, no matching missing person report. She's wearing a leather buckskin jacket, rust-colored pants, handmade moccasin boots. They call her Buckskin Girl. Autopsy says she was strangled. No signs of sexual assault. Her nails were manicured, her legs freshly shaved, like she'd been getting ready to go somewhere. But instead, she ended up in a ditch. And for 37 years, no one knew her name. Flyers were printed, sketches drawn, DNA collected. Nothing matched. She didn't exist in any database. Not dental, not fingerprints, not CODIS. So she became a case number, filed away, unsolved, unclaimed, until 2017. That's when a small volunteer group, barely known outside of forensic circles, stepped in. They called themselves the DNA Doe Project, and they had a plan. Instead of comparing DNA to criminal records, they'd compare it to family trees. They uploaded Buckskin Girl's DNA profile to GEDmatch, a public genealogy site. Thousands of users had uploaded their results there from Ancestry and 23andMe, looking for cousins, ethnic roots, family connections. The DNA Doe Project, they were looking for justice, and they found it. Within weeks, she matched with second cousins. Genealogists built out the tree. Obituaries, marriage licenses, gravestones, public records, piece by piece, branch by branch, until the line narrowed to one family, one daughter, Marcia King, 17 years old, from Arkansas, reported missing in 1981. And just like that, Buckskin Girl had a name. Marcia had been missing longer than most of her relatives had been alive. No one ever thought her body would be found, but it had been waiting the entire time, labeled Jane Doe, buried under the wrong name, while her real identity sat in a shoebox in her mother's closet. This wasn't luck. It was science, crowdsourced, crowdfunded, volunteer-run. The DNA Doe Project didn't stop there. They went on to solve dozens of other cold cases. Lavender Doe, identified after 13 years. Clark County John Doe, 1995. Little Miss Nobody, 1960. Pearl Lady in Los Angeles, all of them nameless, all of them silent, until DNA spoke for them. Here's how it works. Every person's DNA carries traces of their ancestry. So even if you've never been tested, if a cousin, uncle, or sibling uploads their DNA, you're in the system. It's not about matching the killer. It's about matching who the killer is related to. It's how the Golden State Killer was caught, and how victims like Marcia King were finally brought home. But not everyone is comfortable with it. Critics call it invasive, unregulated, a privacy risk. Some want it banned, others want it expanded. But for families who've waited decades, for people who die without names, it's the only thing that's ever worked. In the end, GEDmatch didn't just solve crimes. It gave the dead their names back and reminded us, you can bury the truth, you can hide the body, but DNA remembers everything, even when no one else does.